What do you have?
Let's start off with Karen. Now, let me just mention, Karen's second husband's upstairs. She doesn't want him to hear, so she may have to talk a little low, partner, for that. Karen killed her first husband and was never punished for it.
What line is this on?
She's on line 4.
Karen?
Hi, David.
What is this about?
It's about learning to live with the guilt that I feel for having killed my husband
How did you kill him?
with a knife.
What was the circumstances?
He had been extremely abusive for a long period of time, and we'd been involved with the law, with me calling the police and having him arrested, and him maybe serving overnight, maybe a week, maybe 2 or 3 months, and constantly getting out again. I had restraining orders against him and everything, and the night that it finally happened, something just snapped in me. I just couldn't take anymore, and at least in my head, I tell myself that I was just trying to threaten him that I couldn't take being beat up again.
At least in your head, but what were you actually saying?
I don't know.
Are you telling me that something else was going on?
I don't know. And there's a part of me that says I guess I just can't live with the thought that I really meant to kill him. But that's not the part that I'm having trouble with. The part I'm having trouble with is the fact that nobody anywhere along the line, from the investigating officers on the scene to the detectives that investigated it to the district attorney, not my lawyer, the district attorney, the judges, nobody ever punished me for it. His family was on my side.
There was never even a suggestion of pressing charges?
Well, I mean, originally from because I immediately called the police and said, yes, I did it. It was an accident, but yes, I did. It
was an accident. It was not an accident. That's what you're wrestling with, the fact that it was not an accident.
I guess.
Well, don't guess. Let's say it here. No one knows who you are, right?
No, I guess it wasn't an accident. I just couldn't take anymore.
And so, at the moment you couldn't take it anymore, what did you do?
I struck out with a knife through the screen door.
Okay, but tell me how you felt when you went for the knife.
Desperate at the end of my ropes. It was either him or me.
Okay, so you had the feeling that you were cornered.
Extremely so.
Was he coming after you?
At that time, I looked back and I didn't think so, but I've talked to my kids and they said that he said through the door, I'm going to kill you. This is really it. Now, I don't remember that.
Okay, you don't remember that, but they remember it. So some part of you must have heard it and took that into that blind rage response, right?
I guess. I was just overwhelmed. He had done so many things to me, not just...
I understand, but what I'm trying to get in is in that moment, when you heard that, you weren't aware that you heard it, and you were blinded by your terror.
Yeah.
So you went immediately into a self-protection mode.
Yeah.
And you ran from the door to what?
To the kitchen and got a knife.
Okay.
And I had the little sliding lock on, and he was trying to bust in, and that's when I got...
And what happened? He broke through?
No, he tried to. I stuck my hand through the opening where the chain was, and I struck out with a knife and got him through the screen door. And he went out.
What was the feeling when you punctured him? When
I didn't believe that I really got him, because he went out and he fell on the sidewalk, and I went out and I thought that he was faking.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter came out and said, Mom, he's really hurt. And so I immediately ran in and called the police, and they came and took him. And then the West Covina police came and took me, but they never handcuffed me. They never put me in a cell. They were right from the very beginning, right from then on, all the way. Nobody was ever against me. It was like I was a victim, which in the long run I was, but at this, considering that I took a life.
Oh, I know, but there's something terribly wrong with your point of view at the same time.
What do you mean?
It's as if you cannot see why anyone would be on your side after having been abused for such a long period of time.
I guess I just feel that nobody has the right to kill anybody no matter what.
That may well be true, but the point is, you had no sympathy for yourself. You had no self-esteem at this point.
This is very true.
And what happened was, finally, in a moment, he made a threat which sounded different to you. It sounded so different you couldn't let it in and hear it. The other times when he had accused you, or beaten you, or done something horrible to you, you felt that maybe he still loved you. Maybe there was still something there, and he was the father of your kids, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was some investment in making it work. But this time, something was different.
And I don't know what.
Well, you don't know what because you completely blocked it. You don't remember his conversation with you.
No, I don't. My daughter had to tell me later.
All right. Can you try to remember that?
It's scary.
It's scary to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole voice changed. This is the critical thing. Go right to that moment. Come on. Go right to that moment. Scary.
What? And try to remember him saying that
that
to me?
scary thing. Just remember what that fear started from.
I don't know.
Yes, go ahead. You said it's scary. What did you mean when you said it's scary?
Because I don't like, even though I relive it over and over, I don't like to think about that night because I don't like to think that I could really hurt somebody.
Go to the scary part. Yes, there. Go there.
I don't know. I've been living with this for so long.
You're going away from it. Go to the scary part. The part where he was talking on the other side of the door. He was pulling at the chain?
Yeah, he was pulling up the screen door and then kind of pushing it against the door to get in. And I was really afraid that this time I wasn't going to make it.
Why?
Because the police, that this time he was really going to kill me.
Because the police were what?
The police had told me so many times, one of these times we're going to come out here and it's going to be all over. You're not going to make it. And yet the courts would constantly set him loose every single time they'd give him an OR and he'd be back.
All right, but in that particular night, you felt what?
No. I've covered it up for so long I don't even know.
But you see, whether you know that you know it or not, we know it just by the terror in your voice when you recall it. I don't know. You felt desperate.
Oh, yes, I definitely felt desperate.
And when you get desperate, you kind of lose your place in time. You say to yourself, is this what has been happening before? Is this happening now? Am I imagining this? Is this real?
But how can I get over this feeling that I need to be punished for it? That's what I've done to myself for the past 10 years. I've punished myself because nobody else ever has.
What if you were punished before this happened? Doesn't that count? I mean, you wouldn't hurt anyone unless you were pushed to a point where you absolutely saw it being them or you.
Oh, it was at that point before, but I don't know why it never happened before.
Because it was never at that point before. There was something in his voice that night. And see, you did it again. Even though you can't remember exactly what it has, that's the third time since we talked. That was frightening, you said. And before that you made a comment, and just now you did that feeling. There was something in his voice that night. It was different. And with a combination of you remembering and anticipating, suddenly you lost your place. And it's a dreamlike state that you get into. This is happening. I can't believe this is happening. It's almost like you move through a dream in slow motion, got the knife, you open it up, and you...
That's exactly how I feel.
And you stab. Do you know when people get this way is when they are at the absolute bottom of their defenses?
That's exactly the way I was.
There was nothing left.
There had been battering constantly. There was not one day in the past 4 months previous to that that I did not have bruises, either fresh or fading on my face.
How are you going to forgive yourself?
I don't know. It seems like everybody else has. I'm the only one that can't. Even his family's still in touch with me. They were 100% totally supportive of me. And usually at the bottom line when it comes to, something like this, they would turn back to their own, and they didn't.
Of course, but you see, the problem with self-defense in a case like this is that you hadn't defended yourself adequately until this point.
And something else, David, the lawyer that I had, it's almost like another punishment. The first lawyer they were going to give me was a public defender who had defended him in a case that was pending when this incident occurred, which also, by the way, prompted the judge to say he felt partially responsible for this because he had let my ex-husband out on an OR when I had begged him not to.
You see, they're the ones who are feeling guilty.
But the lawyer that I ended up with, when I saw him that day in court, he had alcohol on his breath.
Look, the thing that you have to know is this. There's only one reason that you're talking to me, and that's that he didn't get you first. I mean, why isn't this call your husband saying, God, it was really awful. I got there. It was a terrible evening. I've been drinking too much. I don't know. I've been all out of control. I just got out of prison. I broke down the door. I was pounding at the chain. I was screaming at her. This night it's different. I'm going to kill you. Please believe me. And I wanted her to run. And I broke down the door, and I went for her, and I killed her in the kitchen with my bare hands. I beat her. Why isn't this your husband talking to me now? Don't you understand that what you did was the only difference between this call being your husband calling me and you calling me?
Oh, he never would have called.
Well, I'm saying, let's imagine that in remote...
Yes, I know. It was either him or me. The police told me that many times.
But the point is, they didn't really believe it. They didn't really act to protect you. And all of a sudden, when you protected yourself, they said, wow, we don't want any part of this one, because then we're going to get blamed for all the things that we did that didn't protect this woman. They essentially left you to protect yourself. And now there's no protection from the guilt you feel over having to take that act. Your problem in life, let's put the murder away because it's not a murder, it's self-defense. Your problem in life is that you rise to your own defense very slowly. And when you do that, you rise with all of the pain of the past welling up with you and exploding. The answer to this is for you to say that you're a good person, that you don't deserve to be punished, and that the way you got into trouble with this was for not standing up for yourself, not for punishing yourself, but for not standing up for yourself. That's the lesson that you learn. Learn that lesson.
How do I internalize that, though, and not just make it words that I know in my head but can't internalize?
Good point. The way you do that is when you're feeling hurt, you say, this hurts, and I don't like it, and I want it to stop. If you can just simply express the hurt in the moment, you take control of the moment, and then the anger doesn't build up out of control. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm David Viscott, and I have not seen a board of calls looking like this since we've been doing the show. The urgency is just...
It's the full moon, I think.
I don't know whether it is. I always hate to say that. But
I know, but this is very unusual. For example, right now, there's a girl who wants to talk to you, a lady, Brandy. Her husband's upstairs sleeping, and she told him tonight something that she wants to tell you. Line 11.
Brandy?
Yeah.
Hi. How old are you, Brandy?
I'm 18.
What's going on?
I've been having an affair with my husband's best friend.
Okay.
His best friend of about 8 years.
Is about what?
They've been best friends for about 8 years now.
Okay. You just told him this?
Yeah, tonight I did, a couple hours ago.
And what happened?
Well, the situation came around. Tonight I went out with a girlfriend, and he didn't really like the fact that I was going out. And I've never really gone out much without him. And I went out, and I came back tonight around 10 o'clock, and he was, I think, more or less jealous. And we got in an argument. And I started to explain to him my honest feelings about our relationship, how I've been feeling, which have been tired of the whole marriage, that it's basically been a mistake. And I asked him for his honest opinions of the marriage, and he felt that he this past month has been very upset himself. And when he goes to work, he's usually gone for maybe 12 hours a day. And he said that he actually looks forward to that time away from the house, away from me, away from everything.
And you feel good about that yourself?
Good about what?
His leaving.
No, I do, but I don't. I mean, I miss him.
What is this in your voice? This shaking in your voice?
I don't know.
Come on, what is that?
I'm just really scared about everything.
Scared about what?
My life. I'm just, I don't know which way it's going.
Okay. Why'd you get married, and how old were you?
I was 17 when I got married. We haven't been married even for a year yet.
Okay. That's awfully young, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Why'd you get married so young?
Well, as you can probably guess, I mean, there was a baby involved. And I have a 10-month-old daughter. I don't like to think that we got married because of her.
But in fact, you're telling me that you did.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to face that honestly and straightforwardly. If you hadn't had a baby, you wouldn't be married to the guy.
Probably not.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You would have moved on, and what would you have done? Would you have gone to school?
Yeah, I'm still in school. I am going to graduate this year.
Would you go on to college?
Most likely, yes.
Okay. Are you still going to do that?
I have plans on at least going to a JC. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go to a university, but at least a junior college.
You have to continue on those plans because you cannot give up your life right now. You have to stay, you have to realize that if you don't continue your life, pay attention to this, if you don't continue your life, if you don't do what you're supposed to do to fulfill yourself, all you're going to have is a relationship with a child who is going to have an unfulfilled mother who will feel resentful towards that child.
I feel like I know my getting pregnant was my own fault.
How do you mean?
By the fact that I can't blame it on anybody else, I can't say, I know what I did, and I feel...
Okay, you're there. You have an allegiance to your baby, and you have an allegiance to yourself. The marriage may be completely wrong. Just because you're in the marriage and it's bad doesn't mean that you have to stay there. I mean, if you're having an affair with his best friend, you're having an affair that is designed to end the relationship. There's no way you have an affair with someone's best friend in order, out of innocence. You do that to destroy a relationship. I mean, you must have known that this is really wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay? And the curious thing is you said something at the beginning of the call that struck me, and I didn't know what it meant, but how old is he?
My husband is 24.
And you said it's been his best friend for 8 years.
Yeah, his best friend is 21 right now.
Okay. What you're saying is his best friend for 8 years, as if that made some difference. And what you really meant by that is that you chose the relationship that was the most important relationship that he had, and you tried to damage it.
I just,
Come on. Take the responsibility for that. There are an awful lot of other guys out there you could have had a relationship with.
See, the guy, his best friend, he was the first person I ever had sex with when I was 15 years old. He was my first real boyfriend. He was, I guess you could say, my first love, even though I didn't really feel in love with him. I went with his best friend for about a year, and he was a great friend, he really was.
I understand, but you used him.
And then I met him. I met, my husband through him, and we got married.
But you used your old boyfriend against your husband. Right? What happened when you told your husband?
Well, immediately, I just told him that, yes, I was having an affair. And he started to cry. And after that, he begged me to tell him who, and I said I wasn't going to tell him. And he said, please tell me, and I said, why? It doesn't make a difference. He says, I need to know in my own mind who it was. And I admitted to him that it was him. And he had guessed him as one of the names.
Okay.
And
what was his reaction?
A lot of anger. I don't know. In a lot of ways, I felt like, he should have hit me or something, but he didn't. I almost felt like if he did, it would have made things better for me. I felt like I deserved it.
Well, do you know why you felt that? You know why you felt? You know why you felt that you deserved it? Is because what you had done was such an angry act. Instead of saying to him, "Look, our marriage is lousy. I don't feel love for you. I feel separated and pulled away. If it weren't for the baby, I wouldn't be here." And if you feel that way, say that. You don't even have an affair. You can just say, "Look, this marriage stinks, and you shouldn't be married to me. And if it weren't for the fact that I've got a baby, I wouldn't be here." You're better off alone than in a relationship like that, because you have a life to make on your own. And rather than be with someone who all you can do is find reasons to hate, you need to be with yourself, at least so you can educate yourself and find a life for yourself and have some meaning in your life and some purpose, so that your kid can say, "Gee, my mom's a really terrific person who's found her own way." Come on, it's not too late to put it together.
I do love him, though. I do honestly love him.
All right, so what do you want to do? Do you want to stay with him?
I don't know. I don't know what I want.
Well, you've got to start taking some responsibility and start knowing some of these things. Saying you don't know is no longer acceptable.
Yeah.
It's not all right not to know. I know you're only 18 years old, but you've got a kid, and you've got a life, and you've got a husband. You have to know whether you want to be with him. You may be on your own. That's not bad. But you have to know that your life on your own is not a punishment. I mean, you are in a situation where you have given yourself over to someone 4 or 5 years older than you, and you're not making your own decisions. And instead of making a decision that you wanted to make, you acted out impulsively. Now you've got a lot of people involved. You've created a circus. Cut through the whole thing. Tell him whether you want to stay with him or not. But don't say you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay? Do you want to stay with him or not?
Well, I mean, I've given it a lot of thought, and I want to. I really want to. I want everything to be happy. I want everything.
It isn't happy.
I know, and that's...
Your relationship's in a lot of trouble.
That's where I say no.
It will require a lot of work. You need to see a marriage counselor together. Would he be willing to do that?
Would he be willing? I would.
Would he be willing?
I don't know. It probably would take a lot of talking to him to try to get him to.
Well, the point is that those are the conditions. You say, "Look, it isn't working for me. Yeah. If you don't want to work on it, I don't want to be here." And you have to say it like that. But you can't say, "Gee, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know." When you say "I don't know," what you're really saying is, "I want somebody else to take over the problem from me, so I don't have to make decisions on my own." Life doesn't work that way. Yeah. You've got to know. And as soon as you start to know, then things start clearing up. What you don't know always destroys the relationship. We'll be right back. David Viscott, welcome back. John, this is for real, this call?
It certainly is. About 2 hours ago, Joe, line 1, witnessed a murder.
Joe.
Hello?
You sound a little shaky.
I'm considering how I sound now. You should have heard me a couple hours ago.
Tell me what happened.
Well, we were at a party a few hours ago, and it was me and my friend Trevor. And there was this other guy whom I knew, and I only knew through acquaintance. Matter of fact, I knew him through Trevor. And they always argued. They were bickering over little petty things, usually. And they bickered about everything, basically, ranging from girls to political stuff. And I was off enjoying the party, and another friend of me who was also leading this came up to me and said, "I think you better go to the kitchen. Something's going on," which is where they were arguing. So I was trying to break things up, find out what was going on. And they wouldn't tell me. They were just constantly yelling at each other. So my friend said, "Let's take this outside." And so they went from the kitchen, where the kitchen has a sliding patio door. They went outside. And the guy had like a knife in his hand, which I saw him pick up and take outside with him. And then while they were outside, they scuffled a bit, and then the guy stabbed my friend. And I freaked out, and it was him and two other guys who were with him, who were his guests, and my friend fell to the ground, and the guys scuffled like, oh God, what have you done? And the guy who stabbed my friend looked at me and said, if you tell anybody, you're next. And they were scuffling about trying to get him to their car. And they left me at the party. And they still telling me if I tell anybody what happened, I'm next. And
And your friend is dead?
yeah, to the best of my knowledge, yes, because they put him in the trunk of the car and drove off.
And what have you done with this?
That's the thing. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Call the police right now.
But the thing is that he has I don't know the guy's name. I don't know. I have the foggiest idea who his friends are. And I don't know where he lives. I don't know anything about this person. And I feel trapped because if they don't catch him, he'll catch me. He knows where I live. He knows where I go to school, everything. Just about everything about me.
You got to go to the police.
Oh my! I don't know. I'm all nerves here.
I know. You've got to go to the police.
Okay.
You've got nothing else to do but this. You've seen a murder. Not only that, if you don't go to the police, you're an accessory.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
I understand.
The law demands that you do this, and they have to protect you.
And if they don't?
Well, you're going to change residences for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Who was at the party besides this guy?
Oh goodness. Oh, there were It was a lot of people. Most of them. Excuse me.
Some people will identify him.
Well, yes, some people will.
All right. Do other people? Is this gang related at all?
I don't think so. I truly doubt it. I don't know if he's a gang member or not, but I know my friend was not.
Okay. Well, did anyone else see this?
Only myself and the two other guys, whom I don't know, and I've never seen before.
How can you possibly turn your back on your friend?
Oh goodness, I'm just all nerves now. I don't know what to do.
I know. But they've dealt with this.
Flabbergasted.
Of course, you don't. You're in denial. How close were you to your friend?
I've known him since, first grade.
Well, you're in a state of shock over this, and the point is, for you not to do anything right now, it's a really difficult thing. Listen, I tell you what I want you to do. I want you to call the police, and I want you to give me a call back.
Okay.
All right? I want you to speak with John Dosa. So he's going to give you a special number so that we can find out what went on, and you'll give me a call back in about an hour.
Okay.
Would you?
Sure.
Okay, John, pick him up. Okay, and I'll take someone else. Send him over to the police and have him call me back because he's got to get going on this.
I'll take care.
All right, who else do we have?
Madonna wants to talk to you about she's on drugs. Line 10.
Not the.
I don't know.
Madonna?
Yeah.
Hi.
I've been taking drugs.
You have to really speak up.
I've been taking drugs.
How old are you?
14.
You're so afraid.
Yeah.
What drugs have you been taking?
Marijuana, cocaine, speed.
You have to really speak up so I can hear you, or else I can't respond to you.
Marijuana, cocaine, speed.
Since when?
A year.
Why are you calling me?
Because I don't know what to do.
Are your parents in the house?
I don't think so.
You home all alone?
No.
Who's in the house?
My mom.
Okay. Does she have any idea?
I think so.
Does she care?
Yeah.
Has she spoken to you about it?
Yeah.
What does she say?
Well, she's been asking me, and I've just been denying it.
Okay, and the reason you're denying it is what?
So
You're stealing it. From whom?
I just get it.
Well, from whom? Stealing from her. Okay. Madonna, you're in a lot of trouble. You know that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're scared that your life is falling apart, right? You have to tell her that you need help. What happened a year ago?
It wasn't peer pressure. It was just that I wanted to try it.
Okay, but you're hooked on it now.
Yes.
So you got to get off of it. You have a life ahead of you. You don't want to be on it. It's making you what they call fragmented. Do you know what fragmented is? You're broken apart. Have your grades suffered?
Huh?
Have your grades in school suffered?
Yes.
You're not feeling good about yourself, are you?
No.
Okay. All right. You've got to stop being afraid, because you're living a lie, and you're stealing, and you're doing things that make you feel bad about yourself as a person. And when you do that, it makes it harder and harder for you to do things that make you feel good. And life stops having meaning. Have you been thinking of killing yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, how would I know, right?
Huh?
Do you know why I would know that?
Huh?
Because it happens with everyone who does things that they feel are bad. You feel you deserve to be punished, right? Mm-hmm. You deserve to be treated. You have a real problem. You got to tell your mother. And you got to tell her you need help. Where's your father?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
Well, how come?
I don't know. He died
When?
before I was born.
You got to tell your mother. Are you close to her?
No.
Why not?
I don't care about anything.
But that's been for a year, right?
Well, yeah.
It's gotten worse since you've done drugs.
A whole lot.
A lot worse. You know what it sounds like to me?
What?
Sounds like you're depressed.
I am.
You need help, sweetheart. What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Well, would you consider talking to your mother?
Yeah.
You want to wake her up
No.
and have me talk to her?
No.
How come?
I just don't.
It scares you?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What do you fear?
She will deny herself.
That she won't what?
She'll deny herself.
I still didn't hear that. She'll
deny it.
She'll deny it? Mm-hmm. That you're on drugs?
Yeah.
How will she deny it if you just tell her?
She won't want to believe it.
Of course she doesn't want to believe it. No one wants to believe it when their kid tells them that they're on drugs. But it's the truth. What you do is you tell your mother that you've been doing a lot of drugs, that you're feeling very depressed and thinking of killing yourself.
I've tried.
You've tried?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Splitting my wrist.
Say again?
Splitting my wrist.
And she has not responded to that?
No.
You're in school, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken to a counselor in school?
Yeah, I have.
And what have they said?
It's not good for me, and that if it gets to a serious point, that they'll tell.
Why don't you tell the counselor that you're doing cocaine, marijuana, and amphetamines, and that you're thinking of killing yourself, and that you're depressed, and you need help, and your mother won't listen? Come on, you're calling me because you're desperately asking for what to do. I'm telling you what to do. If your mother won't listen, the school will exert pressure on your behalf. I mean, if a kid comes in and says, my mother won't listen to me, and I've tried to slit my wrists, and I'm doing cocaine, and I'm stealing, and I'm lying, and I'm in terrible trouble, and I need a lot of help me, they're not going to turn their back on you. Do you believe me?
Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you would do, to go into the counselor at school in an emergency and say, I need help very, very badly? I'm afraid I'm going to kill myself?
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
And would you get back to me?
Yeah.
You promise?
I promise.
Because I can't let you go off like this. I mean, I just feel like reaching out there and hugging you and telling you it's going to be okay, but you're not able to make contact with your mother because it sounds like she's not really with it. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And she knows you're doing drugs. She just doesn't want to know you're doing drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you going to do in life? What is your life about? What do you want to be when you grow up?
A lawyer.
A lawyer. That's pretty ambitious. How badly?
I don't really care about anything right now.
But you said a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Well, you have to keep that in your mind. I know you're in the middle of a valley right now, and it's hard to think of the good things. But the good things are there. All you have to do is believe that you can reach them. So the first thing you're going to do is what?
Tell my counselor.
And you're going to tell her how important it is for you because no one else believes you and no one else understands you. Are you going to make it?
Yeah.
I want to hear it again. Are you going to make it?
Yeah.
How do I know?
I will.
How do I know?
I'll call you.
You promise?
I promise.
Okay. Stay on the phone. I want to give you a special line so you can get in, and it'll be easy for you to call in, okay?
Okay.
You stay right there. And you stay right there because we'll be right back. David Viscott, and welcome back. You know, it's always a little bit unsatisfying to let a 14-year-old like Madonna go back into the night without a firm grip on her. But I think what we have is someone who's now willing at least to make a contact. But you have no idea how many people are out here in the middle of the night just desperate and alone with no one to go to, no one to reach out to. And worse than that, without any sense of what they could do. They don't even know their options. And sometimes therapy is just pointing out to a person that they have a choice and what those choices could be.
David, wait till you see what we have coming up. But next is Michael. Line 5, 22 years old, and he's having some unusual fantasies.
Michael?
Hi, good morning, sir.
Morning, Michael. You're 22.
22.
What's up?
I'm having sexual fantasies about children.
Such as?
Well, all kinds of different, really. None of them are violent, but it's just enough to get me scared.
Like what?
Basically, like giving them baths and stuff and getting ideas there and on playgrounds and stuff.
When did this start?
Started about 6 months ago.
And what was going on in your life then?
At that time, I was working at a daycare center.
And what were you doing then?
I was a teacher's aide.
And what was the contact you had with children at that point?
You mean physical contact?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely none.
Okay. And the first thought that came to you about doing something with a child was what?
Just basically wondering what it would be like
To do what?
to just have sex with a child.
In sex with a child, you meant what?
Basically penetration, I guess, although I have had a couple of oral fantasies.
Okay. A fantasy is only a fantasy, of course, right?
Oh, yes.
And how close do you think you are from the implementation of a fantasy?
Oh, I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Okay. What about your sex life?
I have none. I haven't had any type of sex since I was 18.
Since you were 18. What happened at 18?
I had a girlfriend, and we were engaged to be married, and I caught her with a friend of mine, and kind of just, that, I think it was around at that point I started trusting, or stopped trusting women my own age.
Your own age, and you preferred to trust women how old?
Usually the fantasies I have run from about 6 to 10 years.
Someone who can't hurt you.
Yeah.
You want a partner you can manage. Hello?
Hello.
Let's put it in those terms. You've been deeply hurt, and for 4 years you've been incubating that hurt. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so what are you doing with that old hurt?
I think about my girlfriend a lot.
I bet you do. And what do you think about?
Well, I understand now that she's gotten married. And I kind of wonder.
When did you discover that?
About 2 years ago.
And when that happened, that discovery, what changed in you?
Well, I felt like a dope because I realized it really could have been me if I hadn't blown my top the way I did.
How did you blow your top?
I yelled, I insulted her, said things I shouldn't have said.
Over what provocation?
It was basically, she kind of hinted that she had been sleeping with this friend of mine, although she did not right to say it.
Okay, so you blew up when she hinted that she had been having an affair.
Yeah.
All right. So you were deeply hurt.
Yes, sir.
You couldn't control it.
No.
You felt very betrayed.
Not very.
You were out for blood.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I understand, but that's what I mean.
Yes.
But instead of doing that, what did you do?
Basically, I tried to put it behind me, and I just
How did you do that?
shut up. I just shut myself in.
But that's not how you put it behind you. You shut up feelings of anger over a sexual betrayal. And then, while working with children, whose innocence, I'm sure, was the thing that attracted you, isn't that right?
Yes, it was.
And tell me how that worked.
A child's innocence?
Mm-hmm. What was so appealing about that?
I guess it's just sort of the feeling that you're almost a father figure.
And being a father figure to a child, it gives you what kind of control?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, what advantage does being a father figure give you? Come on.
Well, the children come to you for advice. They come to you for help when they're hurt or feeling bad.
And that means what?
Um,
What does that mean? Come on. Come on. What does that mean?
I'm really not sure. I'm at a loss.
No, you're not. It empowers you. Isn't that right?
Yes.
It gives you power.
Yes.
And the thing that you were missing most in the relationship with your girlfriend was control. Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just absorbing it all.
All right. And now tell me what's happening as you're absorbing this.
I'm just thinking about everything you're saying. And
Okay, but react already.
it's snapping into place. Everything you're saying is making a lot of sense, and I'm seeing a lot of things that I hadn't seen before.
Okay, tell me as you see what you see.
Basically, that when I did shut myself in, I basically turned myself off.
Right.
And I got very paranoid about women my age, my female peers.
What you mean was totally untrusting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then I started working at this daycare center,
Uh-huh.
and I guess I just got satisfied with the feeling that these little girls were looking to me because at that time I was the only man working there, and they needed somebody to tell their stories to and their secrets to that they couldn't tell to the older female teachers.
And all of a sudden, you were having the satisfaction that you never had in your relationship.
Yes.
Okay. So what is that saying? Are you a sexual pervert?
No, of course not.
Okay, but what you are is a wounded man. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
Who has incompletely mourned the relationship with his fiancée. And you're angry at yourself for not being stronger about it, and you feel jealous of the other man, but basically you feel impotent because you felt out of control at that time. And what you wanted in a relationship was one that was safe, where you would not be rejected, where you would have a partner who couldn't hurt you. And so you fantasize about these children, but it makes you feel perverted.
Yes, it does.
All right. You need to get into another area where you're not provoked in this way by children. You need to start working in more of an adult environment. Are there any other job areas you could work in?
Oh, yes. Right now I work in a manufacturing plant.
Has the fantasy life decreased?
It has a little bit, yes.
That's good. I think it's time to start venturing out into the dating world once again. A little more of a distance, but you've got to get out there again. Because the sense of control that you gave up in the relationship is one that you have to regain over your own life. It's not about sex. It's about your feelings of pain over having lost control over someone you love. Sometimes the feelings that we lose control over make us have thoughts. The mind is not a feeling instrument. You don't feel with your mind. So when you're having hurt and it turns into anger, your mind creates all kinds of fantasies that can range from bizarre to perverted, but the original feeling that caused them is something quite ordinary usually. Someone jilted you. You stopped trusting women, and now you look at young girls as sexual objects. It all makes sense.
Gee, I really admire him. Wasn't that courageous of him to call in?
Yeah, I think so, and I also think because at some level, I think he knew it wasn't that. What's up?
Next is a couple, Adriana and her husband, Brian,
Okay.
and they'll tell you what's wrong.
Adriana and Brian.
Yes, hi, David. How
Hi,
are you?
Adriana.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Brian.
Basically, we wanted to talk to you.
You have to speak up.
We've been having some problems in our sexual relationship.
Such as what?
Well, it's been a week since we made love, and sometimes it goes more times than that, and
How long has it gone that it's such a problem?
it's been for about 2 years. Well, for about a year now. We've just been having just kind of further apart physically. Emotionally, we're closer together than we've ever been.
Okay. Why are you further apart physically?
I don't know. I mean, at first he was in the Navy, and so, he used to be tired. He was out to sea a lot, and he said everything will be fine when I get out of the Navy. Well, he did, and he's working, and I understand he's tired, and I mean, that's fine, but I mean, he's been off since Thursday, and we have not, been close. I mean,
Brian?
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, it's just sometimes that she's been sick a lot lately, and I feel myself on her or express myself in that sexual way because she's sick, and I feel that she doesn't want to, even though she says she does. I feel I guess I'm trying to take care of her. Saying, I don't.
Do you feel
should.
Do you feel sexual towards her?
Yes, I do.
Right at this moment?
Usually, yeah.
No, right at this moment, not usually. Right at this moment is
yes,
now.
I do.
Okay. The night's young. What do you think is going to happen in the next hour?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Well, I've been up since 7 o'clock, so.
Oh, now you're tired. You went right to that. Do you see what you just did? First she's sick, now you're tired. I mean, what's the story, Brian?
That's true.
Come on. I said, do you feel sexual towards her right at this moment?
Not exactly at this moment, no.
Okay. When was the last time you felt sexual towards her? Just be truthful. I mean,
Earlier today,
and what did you do about that?
we started doing something, and
What do you mean you started doing something? What's so
we
distinct?
started kissing, and then she said, we were playing cards, I think.
And she said what?
And then she wanted to call her mom to have her bring over something.
Why did you do that, Adriana?
We were just talking about it, and I was just going to make one quick phone call.
Well, okay.
And-
And wait a second. And when she did that, how did you take the phone call?
Oh, she didn't make.
Yeah, but how did
she
you?
went,
How,
she
how
went
did
to go make the phone call.
how did you take that?
Oh, that was fine.
No, it wasn't.
Well, see, I went to make the phone call, and I popped my knee, so I was instantly in pain. It's been a day for me. I've been injured 3 times today. For some reason, I'm real clumsy today. But it's not just today, and it's not just
both of you are afraid of getting close to each other.
Well, it seems like I'm the one that always has to instigate the lovemaking.
He just started to instigate it over cards today. And the first thing you did when he made it come on is, hey, wait a second, I got to call my mother.
Well, see, I had.
Don't do it. Stop it. Stop it. What you're doing is always trivial. I mean, there'll be an approach and, oh my goodness, I left something in the washer. Or the water running. So what? Let it overflow on the floor and clean it up later together.
It's just been like, before I used to be that way, and I always used to instigate the lovemaking, and I got to the point where I just felt like if I didn't instigate something,
all right, it doesn't make any difference.
Nothing was going to happen.
All right, we have to just give the two. Do you love her, Brian?
Yes, I do.
Do you love her, Adriana?
I do. I love him so much.
All right,
but
stop it.
Just...
I don't want to hear it anymore. Here's the rule. All right?
Okay.
Okay.
It's 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't want this night to get much older.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Don't tell me you've been up since 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I mean, you got all tomorrow to sleep. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Guys, go for it. Now, the next rule is that when someone comes on to someone else, welcome them. And if you don't want to have sex, what you say is you tell the person why. But you cannot just say, no, I don't want to have sex, and then turn around and say, oh, this is awful, he doesn't love me. If she says no, then you say, okay, well, tell me why. I just want to know. You want to know why the other person's not having sex. And
there's a lot of times where I am really tired.
Well, then,
and I don't feel sexual towards her at that moment.
Okay, that's fine. And if she comes on to you, be a guy. You know what I mean? Look, your relationship has had too many times where you've all had excuses.
Right.
So you have to throw one into the pot for the relationship. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't feel like it right now. It's the last thing in the world I want to do. She's coming on to me. Guess what? Hey, I'm your guy. I'm ready. Right? Right?
Right.
Right, because that's what you're there for. And all of a sudden he says over a card game, hey, you're really looking at... I got to call my mother? What, are you going to send her in as a replacement?
I was just... I thought
No, don't.
I admit I was mad at him.
Well, why?
Because he had rejected me earlier.
But you've got to be forgiving. Come on, you've got to bury the hatchet. And you've got to start getting it on together.
It seems to me like sometimes I'm the one that has to carry the relationship.
So what?
I'm tired of it.
Well, don't be tired of it.
I wanted to do it for once.
But he did, and you rejected him.
That's true.
Right, so stop it. He is carrying it. From now on, you've got to start giving in. Just give in. You love each other, and you're going to screw this relationship up so badly, pardon the pun on words, that you won't be able to get anything going. Because you get into a rut on a thing like this, and the thing falls apart because a rejected heart finds reasons in the rest of the relationship to explain the rejection, and then the rest of the relationship starts falling apart.
But it's been real funny because
hey, don't give me...
emotionally we're closer.
Right. So what are you going to do right now?
Hang up phone.
Go for it.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks so much, David.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is this...
Forget
gotta
it.
run.
Yeah.
You're off.
That's what I like
That's what I
about
like.
you. The perfect. I love that about you. You're a doctor. You get the perfect prescription. Do her 2 times and call me in the morning.
Stay tuned because I have a prescription for you, too, when we come back.
They hung up fast.
They certainly did.